What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Tournament Tactics Week 17 edition NFL Sunday Main Slate breakdown. We're taking a look at the Sunday Main Slate on FanDuel and DraftKings here on the Tournament Tactics Show. And with me to break it down, as always, the Dream Team, Shark Lab, author of Winning the $1 Million Game. I saw some people posting pictures of the book in the Discord, Burns, selling books like a professor. And the professor of being cool himself, Josiah, is here.
Appreciate that.
You know, lend some good looks and some personality to this crew, as well as some tournament takedowns. And finally, Bobby Millions, aka Bobby 2 times, gotta get the millions, is here with us as well. And we are going crazy this week with an endless stream of NFL breakdowns. The slates just keep coming. Slate after slate everywhere we look. And the Sunday one, you know, at first look was like, I don't know about that one. And then as I'm looking, I really like this slate. I think, you know, it's a little bit smaller than what we've seen for most Sundays. A little practice almost for like a playoff situation. Like we got 8 games going here. And you could see, I'll just, you know, we'll talk them through a little bit here. So we'll go through these games before we break down these anything else. But Colts at the Giants, 40.5 point total. Disgusting, right? The big news or not is, will he or won't he play? We're talking about Anthony Richardson. Don't know. Has not practiced as of yet. There's hope. There's back issues. I'm leaning probably not.
Yeah, I agree. He hasn't practiced at all. It would be crazy for him to go out there, but I'm expecting Flacco to start.
I mean, the Colts need to win. They're in the playoff hunt, so why not? They're going to try to win, but I don't think Richardson gives them a better chance to win a game than Flacco anyway, and especially this game.
Yeah.
Against the Giants. The Giants team wants to lose it. I just have a couple of notes about this one. Downs, great. Taylor coming off the big game last week, got everybody into round 3 of the playoffs. Thank you for that. Actually, fuck you for that, because he knocked me out of 2 playoff teams that never should have lost. But yeah, looks like a Downs, maybe Jonathan Taylor situation anyway. And then whoever the quarterback is, it'll be. I think whoever that quarterback of this team will be should be popular, be it Richardson and certainly Flacco if he's in there. Although it's not the sexy Flacco situation that I've seen in the past. It's also noteworthy on the Giants side that Malik Neighbors has got that Q tag. Not sure he's going to play. And Wan'Dale Robinson's coming off like another 13. That guy gets targets. So Wan'Dale, interesting spot. Jets at the Bills. You know, swan song for Aaron Rodgers, maybe. Bills need the win to stay in the hunt for that second seed in the playoffs. They're going to play it. Game doesn't really stand out. Jets have got a 18 point total. That's pretty gross. Bills total's nice. So, you know, Josh Allen will be low owned in that spot. Then you got the Raiders at the Saints. Meaningless game. Crapola teams. The Rattlesnake. It's just horrible. Backup running backs galore for the Saints. It's Kendre Miller season, I guess. That's actually interesting. And on the Raiders side, you know, AOC again. So good luck with that.
Sure.
Titans at the Jaguars, meaningless game. Mason Rudolph probably still going to start again for the Titans. They're just keeping Will Lev ass on the bench. What are you going to do? Jaguar side, you know, Mac Jones and crew actually not looked that bad lately. Brian Thomas Jr. might be the most popular wide receiver on this entire slate. Fine. Favorite games is next. Josiah, you'll like this one as well. Panthers at the Bucks. That one's got a 48 point total. Loves me some Bucks. Sorry, but loves me some Bucks here. And I like teams facing the Bucks too. Bucks defense is terrible. Mm-hmm. So you could get lots of goodness from that one. We'll see about Chalky Chuba there. But, you know, you got Corker. You got the return of Javier Leggett. Adam Thielen over there. So that's fine. And then Cowboys at the Eagles. Cowboys lose CeeDee Lamb. So some wide receivers are going to get some targets from that game. So okay, maybe Fergie. Interesting there. The Eagles will be without Jalen Hurts. Not sure I love that scene. You got to take some balls to play AJ Brown without Hurts. But wouldn't it be funny if AJ Brown does better without Hurts in there because Hurts was like so dominant? You know who I think it helps the most though? Saquon.
Yes.
Yeah.
No tush push means Saquon gets tush push Saquon in for another 2 touchdowns this week. Dolphins at the Browns. Are they really going to DTR it again for us here? We really didn't get any JAMO time for they're doing this. Gross game. I don't even know what to do with that. And then finally,
let's play A-Chan. That's it.
I don't know. Yeah, A-Chan. In my notes I wrote up about Tyreek Hill. I was like, I've been waiting all year for Tyreek Hill. I might as well just like going for the last week. Like what's left? The whole season passed. But I'll play some Reek. I have Reek equity from the last 16 weeks of playing him.
I was going to say you have to at this point.
Yeah. I got the Reek equity. And then finally, the Packers at the Vikings. Very important game. 48.5 point total. Pick 'em. It was a pick 'em earlier. Actually, the Vikings are now in the lead there a little bit. 1.5 point favorites at home. That's just a fun game, and I think that will lead to plenty of fantasy goodness. BobbyWow, there's a Sunday night football game on the FanDuel slate that looks pretty good as well. What's
Commanders
that game?
Falcons? Yeah, we got Commanders Falcons. Jaden Daniels in a great spot. You get Michael Penix again at low price tag. Although I don't like him, but that sets up for a really interesting game fantasy wise. So really like the FanDuel slate this weekend.
Yeah, it's a little better on FanDuel because to me, when I looked at this slate, I'm going to tell you guys right now, you see all the red and there's 2 green games. My first thought was just like, let's just play Baker.
And I think you should. I think that's a good first thought.
Yeah, got a big team total. But, Bucky is there to vulture him. And then the other thought is just like, play guys from Packers, Vikings, but neither quarterback, especially Jordan Love, has not been consistently good this year. So not the easiest to stack either. But let's see what the field wants to do. So let's get into it, gentlemen. NFL Week 17. This is the last, what I'd call it, clear-cut, meaningful slate of the season. Next week, we're going to get a lot of teams that don't need to play, don't have anything to play for, and we're going to have to navigate some weirdness. So to me, this is really the last of the comfortable slates before the playoffs. The whole navigate thing is weird on week 18. I don't really embrace that. It's not one of my favorite situational things to deal with. So let's say with the wide receiver. So are you guys all I've got the quarterback sorted by ownership. Anthony Richardson is showing number 1, which he would have been the highest owned if he was playing. Do we all think that Flacco's going to play at this point? And what if Richardson plays? Are you playing him?
I'm not playing him. Richardson being the chalkiest quarterback. It's a small slate, but for me, there's other quarterbacks on the slate that have just as much upside. And the Giants have been a really good defense this year against the pass, and so it's just not a situation I want to, have exposure to.
Yeah, it doesn't help that he's got a massive Q tag and a bad back, and that feels like re-injury risk to me, at any moment. Plus, Jonathan Taylor emerged dominant, and they're not going to need anything but Taylor in this game. It's not like the Giants are out here competing. They have nothing going on the Giants. They just have to play a slow, gross game and stay in it. That's their only way of being competitive here. And then Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Bryce Young, Mac Jones, high owned, AOC. Burns, anybody here on the high owned list that you're kind of scratching your head, things that make you go,
No, not really. I mean,
No
no surprises. I think everybody's pretty much right where they need to be. Maybe Bryce Young is the one that's kind of head scratching at this point, because he just hasn't done it all the time. So
he hasn't done shit. And that 5,600, that's a high price for Bryce Young. BobbyWow, AOC on the list. Has he ever had a game worth rostering in a DFS slate?
You know my thoughts on AOC. I'm all the way out on him.
Yeah, I don't like what's that guy doing up there? The last time he had a high scoring game was never.
I mean, the
Fluke,
matchup
the fluke against the Chiefs. Yeah, but other than that, no.
Yeah, the matchup against the Saints is what makes it a little bit better, but it is a home game for the Saints. Playing in that dome, never my favorite environment to attack. But the one that really confuses me is Mac Jones. He's been a little bit better this season, but we just saw this same matchup a week or two ago, and he only put up 7 fantasy points. That's the one that makes 0 sense to me. I still don't like picking on this team.
You know who else doesn't like that one? The prop projection. Look at the difference between his prop projection and his like DFS projection here. Yeah. So this is what you got to take note of. The props say this guy is effectively one of the worst quarterbacks based on the bettors. If you think Mac Jones is going to have a great game, you should definitely be betting these overs because they're there for you. His props are horrific. So, you know, that I'm looking at other props for some of these QBs to see if there's any sort of discrepancies. Yeah, I mean, Mason Rudolph props a lot better than his projection. It's actually Mason Rudolph who gets the nut matchup against the Jaguars.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to play it, but I'm just saying.
You should. I like the spot attacking this Jags defense, and you can play him with Ridley, which is a solid stacking partner too.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
But I also
feels like he's a week 18 play. You know, we're talking about this is week 17. He's viable, Rudolph, but gosh, there's so many better options. It feels like.
Well, let's get into it. All right, so this is a smaller slate, guys, and let's talk about some of our actual favorite QB plays on this one. And high ownership or not, you have this group of players that have like a decent to high team total. I look at the team totals and I say, all right, Colts 24, fine. You got the Bills at 28. You have the Bucks at 28. And then it's really just that. It's those three, and then this Packers Vikings game, like the Vikings at 25. That to me is the group. No, I think we can keep it tight here with the QBs. No, like Burns, who are you on this week?
I'm on Love this week a lot. I think Love is going to he has to have a good game in order for them to actually win this game. So Jordan Love for me is probably one of the top choices on the slate. He's got a good matchup. I just like the matchup for him. Other guys, I'm probably going to be off the map on some of these guys, like different than you guys. So I do like Baker Mayfield this week, but I like Tua Tagovailoa a lot this week as well. So I'm probably way off map versus where you guys are at. So Joe Flacco, I do like him a lot if he actually plays. So
I always play Flacco when he plays, especially as a favorite. So yeah, of course, I'd be all over.
He's kind of like JMO, but he's good.
No, Jamo and Flacco are the same.
They are the same.
Yeah, there's no difference. There's
one won a Super Bowl. The others is
but it doesn't matter. They sling it. They're out there slinging it. They don't give a fuck. They're DGAF quarterbacks. They're out there to sling it and nothing else. They're having fun. They're just having a good time. Josiah, who are your quarterbacks of choice for NFL Week 17?
Yeah, I mean, I think the guys I'm going to be significantly over the field on are like my top 3 quarterbacks on the slate are Sam Darnold, Jordan Love, and Baker Mayfield. Jordan Love, I know Burns already touched on him a little bit. He hasn't been the most consistent quarterback, but we've seen him already have a 30-plus point game against this defense, and this is a game that has a lot of, they need to win this game. And so in spots like this, when we don't have a lot of quarterbacks I love, he's one of those guys I really want to go over on. And I think we've already talked about Baker, Sam Darnold. I'm sure Bobby will touch on a little bit too, but we'll see.
Yeah, the other side.
No, you don't like him, Bobby?
I'm not on Sammy this week.
Why?
No,
Why don't
Darnold.
you like him?
Look, I just think we've got guys with higher ceilings than Darnold.
Who?
I think, Baker Mayfield, Jordan Love, Josh Allen. Those 3 right there. I mean, right off the rip.
Darnold's been better than Jordan Love for the most part.
He's been better, yeah. He's got one ceiling game though. I'm looking for somebody that's going to win me a tournament. It just feels like this is more of an Aaron Jones week for the Vikings. I think they're going to pound the rock with AJ, and he's certainly doesn't mind playing the Packers, a former friend. So I like the run game a little bit more than the pass game in that game for the Vikings.
Yeah,
nice.
And then getting a little cute, you can call it a gummy play if you want to. But playing Kenny Pickett against a really bad Dallas defense is my low-owned leverage play shot.
I need a gummy for that one.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
I need a gummy to actually jump on board with that. Pickett's terrible.
He had a nice week last week. He was okay.
He wasn't awful.
And he didn't play the whole game either.
Also true. And that's part of it, is he came in middle of the game, in 10 points for that kind of situation isn't terrible against Washington, who hasn't been an awful defense. Now he has a week worth of prep going up against a defense we know can be beaten. I think he has a solid upside with better weapons than he's ever had. You have AJ Brown, you have Saquon. You can maybe look at Smith, but I like AJ the best.
I get. I mean, what's the price? 5,500. It is a great matchup. I'll give you that. And they do have good weapons on the team, but man, Kenny Pickett, he stinks. So yeah, that's all. That is that. Yeah, you need a gummy to picture that one, for sure. BobbyWow, any other QBs that we haven't really talked about that are popping for you? It's going to be. I'm keeping it tight. Keeping it tight. Personally,
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I think I will have some interest in Josh Allen. It doesn't sound like you three will at all this week. Haven't. But he's going to be. Sure. He's going to be unowned, and the Bills do have to win that game. Played the Jets earlier this season and looked good. So I will have some Josh Allen, but Baker, Love, Tua to a degree, and then Flacco will be my kind of core guys this week.
Yeah. By the way, I am on board with Josh Allen. I think he's perfectly playable. Naked, by the way, Josh Allen naked is now my new thing. I don't even stack him anymore. I don't want to. It's impossible to do it. It's always wrong, and you don't need to. When he's scoring, it's been with the legs every single time. I don't think it's almost never been the case where you needed to stack him. That has not really helped this whole year. And as far as Darnold, I mean, Baker Mayfield, the only thing holding him back in this game is Bucky Irving. Like if just Bucky gets 3 touchdowns, then it ruins the Baker Mayfield play. That's it. As far as I like Darnold. I'm not on board with what you guys said. I think Darnold, you got to play him too. There's only a couple of games. I want I want those players from those few games that are good. That's it. I want players from Minnesota, Green Bay. I want players both sides of Tampa and Carolina. Players on both sides too. I want to game stack it. I want exclusively Josh Allen from his game with no one else, or even stacked weirdly with Cook if you want to get a little crazy with the stack. That actually can work at times. And then Flacco, if he plays, or Richardson, if he was healthy. That would be my core group, 3 or 4 quarterbacks. And that's it this week. I was just going to say, and I think if I'm, playing on 150 and I'm adding 2 guys in that kind of middling gross range, it's probably Bryce Young and Kenny Pickett. I think Bryce Young is, someone mentioned in the chat, he's worth a look. Mm-hmm. The Bucs stink, and he's looked much better. And I'm with Josiah and Kenny Pickett. I think he's got a chance. If you've been dying to stack the Eagles your whole life, now you finally can this week. So you can finally take those wide receivers
right.
that have been horrible. Yeah, I don't mind it. I mean, Bryce Young. I have Bryce Young on my cheat sheet right now, blank. I haven't made a final decision. I wanted to play him because I love the Bucs matchup, but then I was like, man, but he's Bryce Young, and that's not good. So
it's better now. It's better now.
It has gotten a little
better. I want
better.
Burns to sell me on Tua because I was really interested at first, and then I kind of backed away. So sell me on Tua because I want to play him.
Well, I mean, it's a metric based play. Tua's rate, he's going up against 16th ranked defense, Cleveland. He's been very efficient since he's been back. His completion percentage is one of the highest on the entirety of the slate. I mean, he's 73% completion percentage. Touchdown percentage is 4.8%. He's getting 7.2 yards per attempt. Add in Tyreek Hill at 6,900. It's a very low owned play, very low owned salary, utilization across the stack. If you don't like Tyreek Hill, Jonnu Smith is in play too at 5,500. I mean, and then a lot of people. Here's where I think this is why I think this is a good play. A lot of people are going to be on Devon Achane. Devon Achane is not in a very good matchup. It's actually a very poor matchup for Devon Achane. He's going up against the 5th ranked defense in average fantasy points against the position. And they're only 17th ranked in pass catching running backs. The defensive front for Cleveland is actually really good. So they're a run stopping defense. So, but they're not good against the pass. So for me, this is where Tua's going to have to shine. This passing game is going to have to shine. I love the fact that Devon Achane's actually way over-owned, 30+% owned right now, projected. I love that because I'll probably full out right on. He's the highest owned.
I mean, we'll get to the running backs, but he'll be the highest owned.
But yeah, this is the reason why I'm going with Tua. It's a narrative play. It's basically a metrics-based play, and it's also an ownership play.
Yeah, unowned, easy to stack, doubles. You know exactly who there's only 3 guys he's really throwing to, or 4 if you include Achane. So yeah, all right. I don't like the opponent. I don't like the opponent's chances of scoring at all. That's the reason why it's a little sketch. But as far as Tua himself goes,
and the weather too is concerning. It's going to be 60 degrees, so it won't be cold, but it's going to be rainy and windy. It looks like.
Yeah, rain and wind would be a disaster there. So yeah, I don't know if I'll be on that one, but I respect it, Burns. Respect it, and that's the most important thing. All right, let's shift gears here to the running back situation. But before we do, I want to throw a shout out, my final shout out to Jay Moore. Josiah on the NBA team, you saw this happening. Yeah. First place and second place. When does that happen?
Yeah.
And the old fadeaway, a little first, little second, 70K for the win. Jay Moore, why are you hogging up all that money? Suck it, Aaron DP 987. Suck it, K Mason BX. Why'd I got to do that? I don't care. Said it. Suck it. Good job, Jay Moore. Amazing. I would like to achieve. This is my life goal. I want to be in first and second place in a tournament one time. Has not happened yet. I'll take it. Guys, I also got to send a shout out to the DFS Army Props team. Those guys are killing it right now. They are absolutely destroying it. It's like they knew year end was coming and they leveled it up. Will Lynn and Sniper putting out winning bets on Prize Picks and Sleeper and Underdog nonstop. So if you're DFS Army subscribed, make sure you're paying attention in the props channel. And if you're not, get in there, get the prop sub if you want access to the Proptimizer tool, which is spectacular. You can literally open it up, and I'll show you right now. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do it. Watch. Oh, you want to bet for tomorrow's game? Well, what should I do? Look, this is completely unprepared. I'm going Prize Picks, Proptimizer, completely unprepared. I didn't check this. Yeah, not NBA is crazy, but we're a football show. So, you want to play Justin Herbert, rushing yards? Fine. You can play some Joe Burrow, passing yards under 282. We got a 275. You're just finding these plays with better implied odds on consensus sports books than what Prize Picks has it. And you play with an edge. These are plus EV plays every single time, and they're right there. You don't have to spend but 2 seconds to find them. Oh, Drew Lock, rushing yards, under 17. Fine, there you go. Prize Picks number is 19.5. The consensus number is 17.5. So you're getting 2 extra yards to take this on Prize Picks versus just betting it on the sports book. That's how Prize Picks works. It's compared against the sportsbook consensus. And if you can find a difference there, you can know that you're getting some value. And as a matter of fact, our other Proptimizers almost work the exact opposite way. Well, like the Underdog one, for example, that one is just because Underdog lines and consensus lines are about the same. We take a look at that versus the sportsbook. So you're getting implied probabilities versus this is free money. Jonathan Franklin Myers, don't even know who this guy is. Don't even know what sport it is. I don't know what this is. Sacks. Oh, there we go. So that is a football. Wow, wait a minute. Who the fuck is this guy? Oh, Denver at Cincinnati. There we go. So sacks, under 0.5 sacks for this guy. And you're effectively, when you play on underdog, getting minus 122 odds for every piece of your parlay. But this actual prop has an odds to hit of minus 250. So you're effectively getting the value difference between minus 122 and minus 250. That's huge. Put it in your slip right here, and you're making money. You could just go on here, bam, 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 put these 3-4 plays in a ticket, smash. If you want to do it on your own, or just follow along with Will Lynn and the Sniper and just print cash day after day after day like they've been doing. Everybody's following along. All the DFS Army people have been crushing with this that have been following along. I'm just going to show you the tracker here. It'll pop up in a second as I speak, but they're popping out plays all throughout the day in our Discord. So you want to check that out. And of course, I always love the delay of this tool. You know what? Scroll away, go back. It's never going to come up. Never coming up. Maybe I'm wrong about the tracker. Maybe it's not good. I don't know. Oh, there it is. Bam. Last 3 days up 500. Last 7 days up 1,600. Last 30 days up 3,700. This sub is $35. BobbyWow. You pay $35 and you're up 3,500 for the month just following along with these guys.
Yeah.
I don't know how to deliver more value than that. People always ask, why can't you give me the lineup? We do that here. If you're choosing not to follow along, you're just leaving it on the table. Oh, year to date, up 21K. Every single play is tracked. This is peak transparency. As a matter of fact, Sniper posts the tracker in the Discord every single day. There's nothing sketchy about this. This is real, and this is what's been going on. Will Lynn is a freaking genius when it comes to this stuff. Sniper's awesome, and these guys are churning out money. So DFS, we're about turning $5 into 50K. On the props, it's about having fun, betting lots of tickets, and showing positive ROI week after week, month after month. $35 subscription. Oh, it's so cheap. It's probably not good. Okay, fine. $50. See? That's what happens. January 1st, $49.99. Suck it if you didn't sign up beforehand. That's right. No states are excluded from this. I'm just keeping it real. The sites that they're working on are we have them for every single state. All right. With that being said, let's move on to the running back position for NFL Week 17. And I'm going to sort by ownerships. And Burns, as you said, people like Achane. Top owned guy, 30%. Followed by Irving. Saquon with no tush push to I love Saquon Barkley here if you can afford him. Like smash week, right? Aaron Jones. You guys mentioned him as well. Chuba Hubbard, Chalky Chuba got the Q tag. Jonathan Taylor, the more if Richardson isn't playing, Jonathan Taylor's ownership is going to explode. Like he will be higher owned if that news comes out that Taylor's out. I don't really get the rest. I like Breece Hall, underdog on the road. Don't like that much, but he's cheap. Josh Jacobs, Rico Dowdle. Dowdle also big underdog, facing a tough defense. Not my favorite. Kendry Miller getting possibly the work for the Saints for 5,500. That's not bad. James Cook out there as well. Here we go. So that's the baseline here, guys. So BobbyWow, I'll start with you at the high end of the running back range. We've got Cook and Achane and Taylor, Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs priced up heavy, and then Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, on my sheet already, Saquon Barkley is a core play for me. He's going to smash Saquon this week. Cowboys absolutely stink against the run. Hurts is out, and the Eagles need to win this game if they want the first round bye. So I love every ounce of Barkley. He will be well over 50% exposure in my 150 lineups.
Get him if you can afford him, BobbyWow says. I agree, man. No tush push. That's an extra touchdown or two that Saquon has not been getting. And especially Kenny Pickett's not exactly Mr. Throw it well, skilled in the red zone guy. Like, they're going to hand it off. Love it. How about you, Josiah? You on the same train here on the Quan bandwagon?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to be. Part of the reason why I am playing some of the cheap quarterbacks this week, like Mason Rudolph, like AOC, like Pickett, is because I like paying up at the running back position, and it gets really gross really fast the cheaper you go. And there are some plays that I'm sure we'll touch on, but I'm playing Barkley, I'm playing Jonathan Taylor, and I'm playing Achane. Josh Jacobs is the guy who didn't really make the cut for me, at least as of right now.
Yeah, makes sense. Jacobs might be interesting too, actually, even in a bad matchup, just for low ownership purposes. But I'm not playing him over Saquon. How about you, Burns?
Yeah, I think Barkley has to be in part of your portfolio this week. Jonathan Taylor exploded last week all over him at really low ownership. I think I even made that call on this show last week. But
I had Taylor, by the way, as a core. Like if you followed my core GPP plays last week, you cleaned up with Taylor, and I had the other smash too. And I can't remember who it was at this point, but James Cook. Was it James Cook? I don't remember, but I had Taylor on there.
I was all over him and Cook last week.
Yeah.
I had a lot of HN too last week. So, but yeah, this week is probably going to be a Barkley week. I really don't like his salary. I think he needs to be about $400 or $500 cheaper, and then he'd be even better. But 8,600 maybe it takes some people off of him a little bit, but I doubt it. I think he's going to be about 35-40% in the Millie Maker. Especially with Jalen Hurts out now, he's going to be that much higher owned. And I really don't think. I think in the Millie Maker, I just don't think it makes a lot of sense from an opportunity cost perspective. Single entry and 3 max perspective all day long. I think Saquon has to be in your lineups. But yeah, there are guys, and the reason why I don't like it is because week in and week out. More likely than not, the winning Millie Maker lineup has not rostered an 8K salaried running back at all. So I stick with my 6K guys, and there are some 5K guys that I like a lot this week too. And there are 6K guys that are going to go significantly underowned that shouldn't be going underowned. But Saquon Barkley this week is the primo matchup guy. I like him a lot. I'll have them in 3 max. I'll have them in single entry, and I'll have them in not as much as the field in Millie, but probably half the field in the Millie Maker. So,
yeah, I mean, Saquon comes with the elite 91-point DFS Army rating as well. That's spectacular. Those ratings are important. Jonathan Taylor there with an 81, and then of course the man himself, Bucky Irving, in the next level down. So yeah, I'll be all over Saquon this week. I like Taylor better. I'll say this about Taylor: he rarely is actually he hasn't proven to be a running back that's worth his salary level. If you actually look at his career returns, he does have a couple of those 40-point like explosion games, but when you take those away, his average scoring is actually kind of low. He almost is Nick Chubb-like in his lack of use in the passing game. So there are plenty of arguments. There's reason why you didn't play Jonathan. Most people weren't playing him last week, right? He is not getting any targets, at least from Richardson. Again, I think that might change with Flacco in there. So that's why Flacco playing is such an important differentiation. I don't think Saquon, I don't think JT can repeat what he did last week. Like, I don't think that's something that we're going to see all the time or even frequently at all from him. He doesn't tend to do that. If you look at his returns for the year, yeah, that number looks pretty good, but it's a lot of fucking bad before you have these little pop games. So he is more off than on when it comes to an AK player. But the matchup is spectacular. And again, if they switch up the quarterback, I'm much more interested. He was not, though. Somebody was popping for me like crazy. I know you don't like Achane, but I think Achane's great. He props out really, really well. The workload has just gone up in the last few weeks, so I don't mind that at all. But Bucky Irving, Carolina is the team you want running backs against. Like, they are the cheat code defense for using running backs against. And Bucky Irving he just has life in those legs right now. So I think Bucky is a really good spot here at 6,700. Very playable.
Can I push back for 1 second on Bucky?
Yeah.
He's very chalky. And he's approaching 30%. I think he'll end up being maybe above that even once we lock on Sunday. Look at his last couple of games and just look at the snap share. Like, I understand Bucky he's the rushing guy. He's getting the touches as far as the rushing touches go. But Rachaad White is still spelling him on almost half the snaps, and he's been the pass catching back. So it's not like, Bucky's a lock for 20 touches. Yeah. And we've seen that play out the last couple of weeks where Bucky has only gotten up to 16, 17 fantasy points. I guess I'm just saying I'm a little scared of that chalk.
The only pushback I have, and I hear what you're saying 100%. The only pushback I have against that is those were games that were close, or even where the Bucs were trailing. Like, they lost one of those games. If you look at these last few games and what's been happening, so let's pull it up and let's actually understand situations here. This game was super close, right? This was 24-26. They lost.
Yeah, against the Cowboys. So what's to say that they don't also end up in a close game against the Panthers? There you go.
Better. I mean, they were at the Cowboys. This is at home. I think this is a better spot. But, that's what it would take. Like, yeah, Bucky's leaving the game. They're actually using Rachaad White as a wide receiver, interestingly enough. Like, Rachaad White's target share has gone up. Like, all of a sudden, he's getting 7, 8, 9 targets. You'd love those to go to Bucky. So, yeah, for 6,700, he's definitely a timeshare back. But I do think he'll be a little more likely to get a touchdown than the other guy. But more importantly, it's just look at his prop projection. It's so high.
It's so good.
Yeah, I mean, he's sitting at a 17. He's above Chalky Chuba, well above James Cook as well. So I just think he stands out. Like, when you get to this level, look at Bucky Irving's bringing a 17.5 prop. And when you look down from there,
Jones is the pivot for me, but he's also chalky, so not really much of a pivot.
He's just as high owned, right? Now, he props out really well as well, but it's a full 2 points lower than Bucky.
Yeah.
So that to me is like, all right, Yeah,
that makes sense. That's good.
Yeah, it's just the prop. Like, the number is so good for him that it's hard to ignore it. And again, same thing for Achane. Like, are we going to ignore this guy having a 20 when everybody else around him, these guys are at 17 or 14 for Cook? Like, that is a big difference. And by the way, if you think these numbers are off, if you're looking at me like, Geek, you don't know what you're talking about, your projections are shit, that's fine. These are bettable props that you can go on a sportsbook right now and you can bet the unders. Right? These are everything that's adding up to this is bettable. It's on the sportsbook right now. It's available to bet, and you can bet the unders and make lots and lots of money. I tend to think that the props are correct or really, really close to it. And actually, I've been, I faded Chuba last week or 2 weeks ago. Whenever he had that smash game, the props were begging me to take him. Yeah. And I was like, no, the props don't know shit. And every time I fight the props, I fought the props and the props won.
Yep. Can I ask one more question? And this is for anybody. How do you feel about playing Baker and Bucky in the same lineup then? Because a lot of you said Baker's your top guy.
I think it's
pairing Bucky with him.
Yeah. What do you think?
I won't be doing it.
Yeah.
I'll add another thing to the Bucky conversation too. After Josiah gets through.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I'm not going to make a rule against it. It's not happening too much in my lines naturally, but yeah, I'm not planning on having more than like 10 to 15% of it. I understand why you don't like it, but I'm not going to make a rule against it.
I'd say this. I'm very confident that one of Baker or Bucky is going to have a really, really good score. I'm not confident that they both have a really good score. One of them probably does. So I'm going to separate them. They won't be together because Bucky ruins Baker.
I think it's Baker that's going to have the better matchup, the better production this week. Bucky Irvin is only averaging 12.3 DraftKings points at home all season long. So
he only started playing and starting a couple of weeks ago.
No, he's been playing pretty close to all season.
Yeah.
So he's only averaging 12.3 DraftKings points at home. Guess who averages 17.9 DraftKings points at home? Rachaad White in the fives. Give me Rachaad White all day long over Bucky Irving every day of the week in the Million Maker, and you'll make money.
All right. I like
No,
it.
That
I
is
own.
the rule I did make. I am playing Rashad White around 10% as of right now, and I made a rule that White and Irving won't show up in a line together.
That definitely should be a rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's move down the salary range to look at some of the cheaper running backs here and see if anybody likes anyone. Well, a few people mentioned Aaron Jones. He's going to be chalk, and it's a good spot. Whatever, right? Well, I think we can all agree it's a perfectly good spot. He props out really well.
Great.
Aaron Jones, great. But who are some of these sneaky plays? We've got some interesting situational things happening here that could lead to good scores from particular running backs. So I'll rattle off a few of them. I don't personally like Breece Hall at the Bills in particular. Not to say he can't have a good game. I just don't really love it. I don't hate it. I just don't love it. It's fine. I love
Ford. I was all over Ford last week. I'm going right back to Ford this week again.
Back to Ford? That's what I was going to ask.
Absolutely.
What did Ford do? Ford had the big week last week.
Yeah, he did.
Not much volume. Did it via the receptions?
Yeah, that big reception.
And he will. That's why we were on him, and he'll continue to play that role. I think with DTR under center.
Yeah, there you go. Ford, okay. How about Kendre getting probably the start for the Saints here? Not a great, they're at home. They got the bad quarterback, probably going to run heavy. It's not like the Raiders can stop the run.
It's so ugly.
He's
I don't mind it.
Tournament option.
Yeah.
It was nerve-wracking though to see how much Jamal Williams and Jordan Mims were in the game as well, though.
Yeah, they said they were going to play all of them,
and they did.
Like the coach was like, yeah, and even Mims is going to get in there.
What are your thoughts on Madison?
Yeah, it's another one that is playable. Like if you look at Madison, it's been Amir Abdullah who's getting the big scores, and it's distracting. But Madison, 7 targets, 12 carries, compare it to Abdullah. And of course, this is a great matchup. And it's a great matchup, right? Against the Saints. They're not underdogs. 7 carries, 6 targets. Like, it's definitely a timeshare.
Yeah.
It's definitely a timeshare. Could Madison get it done, though? Yes. I don't think there's 25-point upside, though. I think it's 15 kind of point range for him. So we'll have to see how that all comes together. Anybody else for you guys that you might have any interest in? Tajay Spears.
I played him last week, and that went okay. But for me, I think a guy that's standing out is your guy, Tyrone Tracy. Great matchup against the Colts. He hasn't had the upside, but that's why he's relatively cheap at 5,800. I like this range, and so I'm going to take a shot on him. He's the only guy we haven't talked on or touched on.
You got to call Tyrone.
Yeah. Come
on. Give me a call. You guys are I was waiting for it. I don't know. Yeah, Tyrone was fine. Got 60%. So got back up in his snap count last week. It was a little 50-50 with Singletary a couple of weeks ago. But, Giants stink. They want to lose the game. A lot of these, yeah, there it is. How much regrets does that guy have starting Kendre over Ford last week and losing his league because of it? Brutal.
Damn.
I started Kelsey over Mark Andrews last week and lost the league because of that. And then I started Andrews over Kelsey this week and also got the bad end of that stick, even though it wasn't that bad in the third place game. So wrong decisions nonstop. That's what fantasy football is about. Bad decisions and regrets. So much regret. Any other running backs that are popping for anybody, like in the cheap zone here? Anything, Burns for you that is sort of priced down that we didn't discuss yet?
Well, I think one of the best 5K running backs on the entire slate is Rashad White this week.
Wow.
I think he could actually, at 4.5% ownership, could actually like explode on the entire slate and blow up the slate. Like everybody's going to be on Bucky Irving. I get it. He's awesome. Don't get me wrong. But his home road splits are inversed. And it's not good for Bucky at home.
Do you think he'll be in the doghouse at all after fumbling away the game last week? That was kind of like the barrier for me playing him.
I mean, he might. I don't know. But I don't know. This game doesn't spell. I don't know. It's just a weird game. It's not driving me home where I have to play Bucky Irving at significant high ownership. But you know, I think there's something to say when you have an average of 18 DraftKings points for the entirety of the season at home, and then another guy only has 12.3. You know, that's like over 6 points swing there. So and then you're $1,400 in a variance on the salary too. So but you know, we saw what if I had to do whatever we call it, a gummy play this week, he's going to be so low owned. I think he might not even hit 1% ownership. But it's not a great play. I'll just preface it that. But ETN might actually have some run in this game against Tennessee. He's starting to get some run over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And Tank Bigsby has just not been the guy that they wanted or they thought he was going to be. And he's starting to cede snaps to Travis Etienne over the last couple of weeks. And so I'm talking about this is a million maker play where if you have him and he blows up, you're probably going to win.
Here's your evidentiary. Here's your evidence here. I wasn't sure if you were even right with what you were just saying, but you are. So last week, ETN 52%, Bigsby Smalls 30%, and then Dearness Johnson steps in with some snaps for whatever reason at the 20% level. No idea what he was doing in there.
They don't know what they're doing. It's okay.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Like, he's not Jonathan Taylor by any stretch of the imagination. He's not even close. But we saw what Jonathan Taylor did to this Tennessee defense last week. And, I mean, he shredded it up and down in every which way but Sunday. But he did a lot. He did a lot against this Tennessee defense, and he made them look like they weren't, you know, they're not even the type of defense that everybody laid them out to be. And, you know, so I'm not saying that he does 40 points. That's not even in the stratosphere of comprehension. I'm talking about, you know, if in the 5K range, you know, if he gets 17 to 20 points, he could win you a quality tournament. So
yeah,
a really low ownership. We're talking about
I mean, you get him at no ownership, yeah, for a low enough price. And there's really, I mean, realistically, there ain't nothing going on below that price point.
I'll say he'll either get you 6 points or he'll get you 20. That's how it's going to be.
Yeah. All right. I can dig it. Let's move on to the wide receiver group. And guys who are watching, let us know what running backs you're building around this week in your RB core. Give us your top two that you're looking to build around this week. I'll also say that if you enjoy it, if you're looking at the Domination Station Optimizer, which is what we have on screen for this show, the optimizer will optimize up to 300 lineups. It's going to show you our DFS Army projection. You're going to have ownership projections and the props projection for every player. So you can compare sort of modeled projections to the props. And it just gives such an edge slate to slate. We're seeing it over and over and over again. So if you want to check that out, promo code Geek, 10% off. Sign up at DFS Army if you're not already signed up. And if you're not a sign up for a site person, enjoy the videos. We'd ask that you hit the like button and maybe subscribe to the channel here, so you can get all of our DFS Army DFS YouTube content. You might even catch a few laughs, learn a new sport. Well, we got NASCAR going in the off season. We got MMA breakdowns nonstop. It's a sport bonanza. Worked out well for Jane Moore on Wednesday night. Josiah pumping out those core plays in NBA. Yeah. $50,000 bills being printed. All right, let's talk about the wide receiver group for NFL week. All right, and hockey. We have hockey too. Always forget about the goons. Always forget about the goons in the hockey channel. You go on the hockey channel. If you have all your teeth, you're going to be the only one.
I must be the only one then.
You got a fake one in there, Burns. Don't lie.
I don't.
Don't lie. Take it out. Take it out.
I don't. I really don't.
There.
See, they're all there.
I don't buy it.
They're all pearly white. Every time I go to my dentist, she's like, "You have the best teeth I've ever seen." I go, "You damn right I do."
Yank one of those teeth out. Yeah, see, tattooing. He's missing teeth. They can't have all your teeth in the goon channel. I don't even go in there. It's like a mosh pit from the 90s in that channel. Stay out of there. Fists are flying everywhere in there.
You just have to know your way around it, you know.
It's like a 90s mosh pit in the hockey channel. All right, let's move on to the wide receiver group. I'm going to sort by ownerships again. It's my favorite way to get started on a group and just see who the field is on as of right now. And look who's up top. A little, of course, Brian Thomas Jr., who has been getting double-digit targets week after week after week in a great matchup. Sure, why not? Then you've got a little ping pong action with Thielen and Evans in that Bucs-Panthers game that I'm trying to get lots of exposure to. So I get it. Justin Jefferson, probably the consensus best pay-up option on this slate with the vaunted 100 rating from DFS Army. It doesn't get better than that. That's as high as the rating can go. Then just, people don't know what to do. There's Corker in there, just another player from that game. Well, Jacoby Myers, always incorrectly sort of high owned. Why you guys keep owning this guy? I don't know. Malik Neighbors showing up with an ownership, even though he's probably not even going to play. So after that, I think the field is just confused on who to play, who to load up on. But let's see if we can clarify some of that right here. And guys who are watching, who are some of your top wide receivers? Who's your wide receiver paydown option for this week? Let us know in the comments section. BobbyWow, I'll start with you at the top group here. We got a bunch of studs at wide receiver to pick from this week. Of course, Malik Neighbors, no, right? Note that the drop-off in salary is severe on DraftKings. So you got Jefferson, Brown with the backup quarterback, Mike Evans in a game that we all are interested in, then Devontae Adams, volume machine, Reek Hill, and BTJ. And then we get this sort of gap of guys that what I think that are bad plays, right? So, BobbyWow, do you have a core here? Do you have anybody you're focused on? What are you saying? What are you doing at the top of the wide receiver price range this week?
Yeah, I think for me, it's a ton of Mike Evans and it's a ton of Brian Thomas. JJ, you can't dispute the fact that he's a solid play as well. I think he's a lock in cash for sure. He's had a ceiling game in 2 of the last 4 weeks, I think, at this point. So he's bounced back well, but I do like Mike Evans more than him if I have to pick one over the other. So I feel like because Saquon's a core for me, I can only get to one of those guys, and I'm not playing Darnold. To me, Evans is the better pay up, and then Brian Thomas. I'll have plenty of Brian Thomas as well, who's $1,000, $1,500 cheaper than JJ.
So much volume for Brian Thomas. He was a core play for me last week. Absolutely came through. It was like a core play for everyone, though. Even having that didn't help that much. But yeah, I'm down with what you're saying, and I agree on the Evans for me is much more of just somebody I'm playing with my Baker lineups. Like, I'm not going to play Evans not with Baker because I have so much Baker. When I load up on a quarterback, I'm not going to use their pass catchers outside of those stacks, but I get it.
I will. I think even Evans' prop projects better than JJ for $800 cheaper. Not by much, but
that's wild. Actually, you're right. Actually, man, that is convincing me a little bit. How about you, Josiah? Same? Different? Anything?
Yeah, I've been watching these Mike Evans Bucks against the Panthers game for a long time, and he does his thing in these spots. There's no one who can stop him here. So, yeah, Mike Evans is my guy, but A.J. Brown is someone I'm going to have leverage on.
A.J. Brown with Pickett.
Yep. The quarterback's awful, but the matchup's fantastic, so I'll take a shot
Burns,
there.
what is the Shark Lab like here?
Yeah, Mike Evans is an awesome play this week. He might be the play this week at the wide receiver position. I also like Devontae Adams this week too. we saw Buffalo. They've been getting shredded via the air. And Devontae Adams over the slot, he can get it done again this week. His salary is for his production the last couple of weeks is kind of low, 7,100. So I actually do like him a bit. And Buffalo, where you beat Buffalo is over the middle of the field, and that's where Devontae Adams does all his work. And him and his rapport with Aaron Rodgers, it's just it's just there right now. So take advantage of it while you still can, while these two guys are going to be together for the last week here too. So I also like JJ. JJ's an amazing player. Was on him a couple weeks ago and he exploded. Finally exploded. So I like him too. I'll have ownership in Tua, so I'll naturally just have ownership in Tyreek Hill.
Reek.
Yeah, and Brian Thomas, that ownership is huge, but the guy is just, he is like a 25 to 35 point machine this year, and it's
he
just
gets so many targets.
It's incredible.
The volume. If you're getting double-digit targets every single game, even when your team only wins only scores twice.
Yeah, and just takes me back to draft day where he was pissed off that he was drafted so low. So rightfully so. This guy is amazing, dude.
I mean, we can have a dynasty discussion about who the most exciting rookie wide receiver is, and there are a lot of them. But I mean, if you're redrafting right now, your dynasty draft from last year, are you taking Marvin Harrison Jr. or are you taking BTJ?
BTJ all day long.
All day. It's not even a question.
Yeah. I just wish I wish he had a better quarterback. I mean, he's got shitty quarterbacks too. BTJ does.
Yeah, but so what? I mean, he's getting it done with crappy quarterback. You're taking BTJ. You're going Neighbors, BTJ in that order, and then I think it's Ladd McConkey, number 3.
Yeah, Ladd's had a great year too.
I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is dropping
so fast.
Yeah, and I don't think that Marvin's he's a great wide receiver. I've watched him for a long time.
No, they need a new listen, we're not going to argue this now. There was a strong argument against Marvin Harrison that his big games in college came against crapola teams, and that when he played against teams with a quality cornerback, he could not separate, and that his best games absolutely came against like the San Jose States type teams that just didn't have, that weren't good, and he would just put up a 250.
Well, until he got hurt against Georgia in the playoffs about two or 3 years ago, he was shredding Georgia's defense left and right. And then he got hurt in the end zone. And while he got hurt, that actually ultimately led Ohio State to losing. So.
Can y'all hear Kevin?
I can't. Kevin, I think your mic's buzzing out. I can't hear anything you're saying.
Oh boy. All right, check. Yeah, hopefully we're better. All right, let's move on to the next tier of wide receivers for NFL Week 17. And I think we're just gonna Malik Neighbors, Q-tag, crappy quarterback. Nothing really exciting about this play here. I don't know if he's gonna. Oh, he returned to practice, limited participant. I guess it's okay. It's not something I'm going to be on. Jerry Jeudy, unplayable.
Yeah.
Jordan Addison, interesting with Darnold for me, much more than as a standalone play.
I like Addison a little bit here. He looked really good against the Packers earlier this season, and he's another guy that's been targeted a bunch over the last couple of weeks. He's averaging double-digit targets, which is 6,300. That's something I want to see.
He's been getting those looks. I mean, he's looked
not close,
much better.
Low owned too.
It's not bad. But I'm going to have a lot of Darnold, so I'm going to play him. I actually think Darnold's best possibility for a ceiling game is with Addison, because Justin Jefferson's going to do his thing every week. Like, he's still going to get you 20 almost no matter what. It's when Addison pops and Jefferson's doing it that all of a sudden you get the Darnold, above average game. Hopefully my mic is better here. I'm having
don't touch as long as you don't.
Yeah. Is it bad again?
It's good. It's good.
All right, good. All right, because they're talking in this. I don't know if the chat is like on delay, like me watching football with Kanger busting out touchdown calls 60 seconds before I see them in the Discord. Like, I got to turn the Discord off. All right. Jacoby Myers. So the next group here, we got Jacoby Myers. Man, I don't like Chalky Myers at all.
He's the easiest chalk for me to get off of. If he beats me, fine, but he hasn't beaten me for 4 weeks, and he's been chalky the last 4 weeks, so I'm okay.
Yeah, Chalky Myers is, And then for me, the Packers wide receivers are stacked with Love or nothing. I'm going to be forced to stack a bunch of these guys with Love. They never get volume. I don't know who the hell it's going to be. Wicks, Reed, Kraft. Literally have no idea where the scoring is going to come from on that team. So I just don't like them as standalone play. I never feel good about just clicking the button on Jaden Reed. I never do. Never. But he's going to put up a 30 every once in a while. So it's a tough situation. I do love that this game is indoors during the winter time, and we get the beautiful environment to play in. You have to elevate the expectations for that kind of game. So I like Jaden Reed a little bit here. I guess Devontae, if you like AJ Brown, Josiah, Devontae Smith, you got to like him.
Yeah.
Thielen high owned as part of this back and forth game. I think that's fine. Yeah, he's getting it done.
Always terrifies me though, but I get it.
It is, but so what? Yeah. It's not terrifying in the sense he does get volume. It's not like the volume's not there. He's going to get some looks. Yeah, it's Bryce Young. I think it's fine.
Makes sense, yeah.
K-Shack, whatever. Ridley. I think Ridley's going to be. Let's take a look here, actually.
Revenge narrative. There's so many things here.
Revenge narrative. It doesn't matter. This guy has not. Ridley has been higher owned than we haven't seen that big game from Ridley in a while. They try to feed him. It just doesn't. It hasn't worked. I really wanted to like him a lot more. At 5,500, it's really not too bad. But where's the big game? He had 26-pointer, 24-pointer. A lot of single digits in there.
Yeah.
His quarterback's not good, but at least now he's got Mason Rudolph. It's I wish Mason Rudolph was actually better than Will Lev asked, but he's not. He sucks too. That's the problem.
I can't get past
They're both not good.
But a little bit better. Rudolph is a little bit better.
He's definitely, I don't need to lock button the defense against Mason Rudolph the way I've been doing it all year for whoever the hell is playing Levis. Mm-hmm. It's been working. That worked like a charm this year. That's been the cheat code for defense all season long. Waddle probably out this week. I don't know. Anybody you guys like here in the 6K to 5K range at all? So just take the whole range as a whole. Like Burns, is anybody popping for you in this zone here? It's not. I outside of all right, Thielen, yes, fine, good play. Ridley, maybe. Anybody else, or do those guys even stand out for you?
I mean, they do because of the matchup. I mean, they're going to just naturally show up in a lot of your lineups when you run the domination station. I do like K-Shack. I mean, his rapport has been pretty good with Josh Allen all year. And he's getting the Jets this week, and the Jets they're okay. They're nothing great from a defensive metric standpoint across the middle of the field where K-Shack does all of his business. So I do like him this week. 5,600. I mean, he saw a price decline.
It's nice that the price came down a little bit.
Yeah, so I like him a good bit this week. If you had to stack anybody with Josh Allen, this would probably be your stacking partner. So that's kind of how I'd go with that. Calvin Ridley, yeah, it's a great matchup for him. We just have to, when is he going to explode again? When's he going to get that 25, 26 pointer again? Hopefully this might be the week. We saw when Minnesota and Green Bay played earlier in the season, Jaden Reed just exploded. I mean, this is how you beat Minnesota's defense. You beat them over the middle of the field, and he could potentially have a good game. Whether or not he has a good game is another question. It's just that type of offense. You don't know where it's going to go. I mean, Tucker Kraft could have 2 touchdowns in this game. You just don't know. I mean, it's Green Bay. They have so many weapons. So But Jaden Reed, 5,900 for Reed is not a bad salary price point for him. I think that was the price point that he had when he went up against Minnesota last game they played this year, and he exploded. So
that was the end of his run as being awesome, and then it just took a
kind of fizzled out. But I mean, he could have another good game here and help them.
Do you like Reed? So let me, and we'll pose this to everybody. Do we favor Reed that much over like Dubs or Wicks? Does it make a big difference to you guys? Everybody's nodding. So Josiah, is Reed much better than those other guys?
Yeah, Reed is the number one option for this offense. He's the guy I want to see in my lineups, but the other guys you just have to have, for the reason Burns has touched on a lot. You don't really know who that guy is going to be, but Reed is who it's most likely to be.
Yeah.
He's the leverage play. He's the leverage play of the week for me at wide receiver. I will be loading up on Jaden Reed.
I'm going to give Totally Not the FBI one quick Survivor tip as you're in the chat and you asked about it. And this is very exclusively a week 17 tip on Survivor. Survivor ends week 18 for most, especially the DraftKings one. I don't know what teams you have left, so I can't speak to like what you should do, but I can speak to this. Don't worry about saving it for next week. Get through this week. Next week is the hedge. So once you're through this week in Survivor, you can now calculate what you're going to win if you hit next week, and you can hedge it. So this is the most important week. If you're still alive, congratulations. Pick the best game. Don't set yourself up to win next week. Worry about getting past this week, and you can full hedge that shit next week because it's the last week. So next week, you're taking a team, and then you're playing their opponent on the money line for plus 250. And you're betting thousands on the underdog just to make sure that you walk away with a ton of money. So congrats for getting here. Get through one more week. That's all I'm going to say about Survivor right now. He's going Rams and Tampa. You have to pick two? Oh, whoa.
Give me the Colts, Bucks, and Fins.
Yeah, there you go. BobbyWow called it. Yeah, Bucks. Colts are winning that game against the Giants. Those are teams that are trying to lose.
5 left. Wow.
And the Fins.
Anybody against the Ryan Thompson. The only thing that messes up your Bucks play, your Dolphins play, BobbyWow, is when DTR gets hurt and Jamo comes in, and your heart is going to sink. Oh,
you were so hyped when that almost happened last week.
Oh my gosh, was I so hyped?
If Jamo comes in, I'm putting a down payment down on whatever I'm buying with that prize money. I'm so confident the Dolphins
no
win.
chance you're winning if Jamo comes in. Jamo off the bench is not even the normal Jamo. That is like super jam.
Next level.
Yeah, that is super Jamo. You don't want to mess with that. That was like, you should just kiss your money goodbye if you see Jamo coming out. Did you, Josiah, was I in the chat with that? I was like, oh my God, it's happening. Yep. I was like, holy shit, he's in the tent. This is going to happen. I was so excited.
So glad that didn't happen.
Yeah, listen to Sharp App, by the way. What Sensational is saying is he's the sharpest there is. But at the same time, you got 2 teams to pick, and you got to take the fucking biggest favorites you can. It's week 17. You just got to get through one more week. If you're alive next week, you made the money. You got to get through. That's the part that people don't understand in Survivor. If you're there for the last week, you've already won. I don't care if it's Atlanta or if it's freaking the Giants next week. You already won because you just hedged that play. All right. Cheap wide receiver. By the way, we didn't pick a lot. The mid wide receiver group is not. Wide receiver is thin. I'll tell you who my favorite guy down here is, though. There's a lot of sub 5K wide receivers that I actually like a lot.
Yeah.
So let's do this. Let's go through our sub 5K guys we like a lot. Everybody's going to say, let's get 3 to each one of us. 3 wide receivers under the price of 5K that you are heavy on. I'm going first. That way I'm take the good ones, right? First off, of course, is Josh Downs. Love Josh Downs. I don't care if it's Flacco. I don't care if it's you. Look at this. You're like, oh, Flacco only got 4 targets last week. Oh, they don't like him. Who are they throwing? Now, he only threw it 11 times. He got 40% of the targets last week. He's still the prime target in this offense ahead of Pittman. So I like Downs. Of course, Jalen McMillan on the Bucs. What's not to like about him? You're getting Godwin kind of style player for cheaper in the game that we're all looking to target.
He's a
So give me
stud.
what's that? Am I
He's
taking
a
the easy
stud.
one? Yeah,
No, he's a stud. McMillan's a stud.
And then, by the way, there's so many others. There's really a lot of other viable plays. I'm not even going to get into them, but like the Dallas wide receivers with no Lamb, any one of them. But give me some either Leggett or Coker as my final spot. Again, I'm just targeting this one. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take Wandale for my third play because he actually was somebody that popped for me based on his 12 targets last week. Like if you're going to throw to anybody 12 times and 11 times and 9 times over the last 3 games and you're going to price him at 4,400, I get it. He doesn't do anything with those passes. I get it. The scores do not reflect a guy who's getting 11 or 12 targets. They don't. But I love those. I love that target volume. I can't help it. I need it. I need it like I need nicotine back in the day.
The other thing I'll say too, this is a smaller slate. And we also have a lot of just gross low totals. And so we might not need like the same ceiling we typically want from players. So that softer floor could be a little bit more viable than it usually is.
What's this Swami talking about Leggett serving raccoon? What the fuck? What the hell is
So
this?
funny. Oh, the St. Brown brothers had him on a podcast. He talked about
he's eating raccoon.
He kills and eats raccoons.
Raccoon, and he gave it out yesterday to some of the people who were interviewing him in the locker room so they could try it. If you never heard him speak, you have to. He has the best.
He's awesome, man. Oh man.
Is he like from Louisiana or one of those awesome accent places? Like very southern?
Yeah, very southern. But I don't think he's from Louisiana. I think he's from maybe North Carolina or somewhere else nearby.
Oh man,
just super country.
Eating roadkill is the most southern thing ever. That's why there's no drones down there. Everybody's walking around with the shotgun ready to shoot a raccoon, and all of a sudden they look up. There's a thing, like there's a drone. It's gone. Orb, hell no. Even the aliens aren't fucking with the South. They're like, the fucking aliens in the orbs. They're not going to the South. By the way, we might get this. Even mentioning the aliens or the orbs will get you wiped off of Twitter and Facebook and all the social media. Something's hiding something out there, guys. There is a conspiracy happening. I can't find anything about it on Twitter, and they talk about everything on Twitter. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets down in North Carolina.
South Carolina.
And the raccoons. Remember that raccoon that the government took away from that guy with Peanut the squirrel? Rocky and Peanut? I still think about those two.
Okay. Yeah.
No one else? All right, whatever. All right. This one's for Peanut. This breakdown is in memory of Peanut. Burns, well, give me 3 wide receivers under 5K. Can we take this away? You're going to let me keep talking, or are we going to do this? Give me some wide receivers already. I need some sub 5K guys.
You took a lot of the good ones.
Yeah,
I
did.
I mean, it's kind of slim pickings here down at the bottom.
Wicks, there's Dontavian Wicks for 4.
Well, you gotta let him talk. If he's gonna, Wicks is one of mine. What are we doing here?
I'm trying to help. I was trying to help. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Beavis.
Yeah, I think Westbrook Akine in this range is somebody that's viable. I like Calvin Ridley more, but if you can't get to him, Akine in this matchup is viable. But this, it's tough. Jalen McMillan's awesome play too. So I mean, you already said him, but it's like,
do we need any others? Can we move on? Do we nail it? That's it.
Yeah, I think Bobby, he always has
we'll lower the number. Give me 1 or 2 that I didn't mention. How about that? Coker and Wicks.
Yeah, I think. Oh, go ahead, Burns.
No, I'm good.
Yeah, I think Coker's my favorite cheap option down here. You can look at David Moore if Leggett doesn't play, but I think he'll play this week, so I'm not really thinking about that. And Wicks I like, but I'm also only looking at him if we get the news that Watson's not going to play. I know he's questionable now. So everyone else I just like that you mentioned.
Yeah, Christian Watson might play?
Yeah, it's questionable.
Might not play.
Yeah, but I'm not going to look at Wicks if Watson plays.
Yeah, but Wicks will be really good if Watson doesn't play at that price, though.
Mhm.
I think we can that's a much. I'm more comfortable at least playing the $3,900 guy with Jordan Love, who's only going to get 5 targets, rather than the $7K guy who's only going to get 5 targets. Like, I got to stack Love with someone anyway. I'd rather get a $3,900 guy.
Agreed.
And then, of course, it's like Romeo Dubs. You never know with that team. Bobby 2 times. Give me 2 times. Gotta get cheap wide. I can't even say it. Forget it. Just go.
You love, you named everyone I love. I'm gonna give you one guy close to 5K and then 2 min price guys. All right. I like Michael Pittman Jr. a lot. I know we've kind of glossed over him because we're downs, but I know. But I like Michael Pittman a lot with Joe Flacco under center. I think this is his time to shine. Downs actually does decently with Richardson under center, given the types of routes he runs. I just think this game flow, this game plan fits Pittman really well. And, I think hopefully he's looking to end the season on a high note and what's been a really disappointing season for him. So Pittman's a guy that I'll be overweight on. And then 2 guys at the bottom of the list, really one is Ryan Miller for the Bucks. With both Ottenhout and Sterling Shepard, Ryan Miller is going to get some extra chances here. I think he's kind of going to step in as the WR3 role. And every time he gets an opportunity, he looks good. And Baker seems to find him. So I'll have some Ryan Miller. And I'll also have a little bit Millie play of Flournoy for the Cowboys. I think they get an extended look at him this week with CeeDee Lamb out. He's another guy that's, saw a significant uptick in snaps when CeeDee Lamb was limited last week. So to me, this feels like a week where I'm really tight at quarterback and running back, literally 4 guys, quarterback, 4 guys at running back. And then I want to spread the love at wide receiver on some of these lower price guys, even these min price guys. So I will have exposure to everyone I just mentioned.
I like that.
Ryan Miller. Okay. Ryan Miller got the touchdown last week, I believe. Yeah, at the end of the game. So, yeah, there we go. All right, let's move on and talk tight end for NFL Week 17. You mentioned Ottenhout. They do have a guy that steps in, and I can't remember his name. Perham. Something with, he's on my sheet. Peyton Durham. Yeah, there it is. Payne Durham.
Yep.
Look at that dude.
Oh, man, that stash is just unacceptable. If you're going to have that stash, you need to just get rid of it. Some of these guys' pictures, man, makes me not want to play him.
He looks like a bruiser, man. He looked good last week.
He did get a lot of targets. I'm just remarking on the looks, really. This mustache, it's bizarre. All right. Tight end group. Let's take a look at the Dom station and see what the ownerships are looking like for next week. Hawkinson, top owned. Jake Ferguson. I like Fergie here. With all those players out, right?
He's so cheap on DraftKings. My goodness.
Is that not a great spot? Bowers with AO sizzles. Fine. Gets it done, even with the crappy quarterback. Dalton. Tucker. Bretton Strange.
Hard to afford Bowers this week, though.
Yes, it's always hard to afford Bowers, not just this week. It's always hard to afford the 7K tight end. But, Bowers does get it done. He's so good. He's so good, it doesn't matter who his quarterback is. He's going to be scary when they have a real quarterback on that team.
Lots of people in the chat with their tail between their legs with Bretton Strange's performance last week.
Bretton Strange. Why were people liking Strange last week until he
hit
himself?
Yeah, he was chalky.
He was very chalky. Not chalky anymore. No. So starting at the very top, guys, if you're paying up at tight end, you pretty much just have 2 choices, Brock or Janu Smith. Both are fine, in a bubble. Brock Bowers is going to get some ownership here, but as Burns, you said, hard to play him, very expensive relative to the salaries on this slate. So what are you doing? Do you like either of these guys? Burns, just real quick. Let's power speed this. Burns, are you playing Brock, Janu? Do they stand out for you?
Yeah, I like Janu a decent amount.
You already said you like Tua, so that's part of those stacks.
Yeah, I don't know if I can get to Brock. I mean, he's almost 7K. That's absorbently high at the tight end range. I mean, he's way above everybody else. So
in order for Brock to be in the winning lineup, he has to outscore every other tight end by, I don't know, 10, 12 fantasy points on this slate. Like, he'd have to outscore TJ Hawkinson by 10 or 12.
Because he's priced at with Malik Neighbors, Jerry Jeudy, and Jordan Addison. Like, he is a reasonably priced. I think 20 points gets it done for him this week.
He's a good flex plays. If you just have him at tight end, though, it's tough to play him without another tight end.
You need that salary saver. It's tight end. There are a lot of good ones here, though. So let's talk about some of the actual sort of more mainstream tight ends here. Hawkinson, going to be the highest owned, gets the perfect rating, and has a good matchup against a Packers team that's really good against wide receivers and less good against tight ends. Kind of funnels to the tight ends a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
24th ranked in terms of fantasy points allowed to the position. And of course, the vaunted 100 rating. You always want to pay attention to who's got that rating going on the Dom station. And then what else from there? We got Kincaid and Brenton Strange.
I got 4 guys for me that I'll
yeah,
probably all my
guys,
exposure.
BobbyWow. Take me through it.
Give me Brock and Hawk, and then let's get crafty with no pain. I like with Payne. I like Kraft and I like Payne a lot. So Brock, Hawk, Payne, and Kraft will be the 4 guys that I am in on, and probably mostly only those 4.
You got to get Fergie in there too, no?
Yeah, like no Ferguson.
Look, Ferguson is fine. He's way too cheap. So yeah, I think he's a solid play, but I'm looking for some upside here. And so Fergie. When was the last time Fergie got us upside?
I mean, I don't know, but when was the last time CeeDee Lamb was hurt and there was no one else to throw to? I think Ferguson's going to do great. He's the best play to me. So his prop 10.9 is better than Hawkinson's prop at 10.3. Just on a
he's so cheap. It's
on a value, on a value scale. You cannot beat Ferguson here.
Obviously, he's the chalky guy. I'll have some Ferguson, but the other 4 guys will be my core.
Yeah, I like the guys you mentioned. The one guy that I think is still going a little under the radar is Chig Okongwu. He's been getting so many targets ever since Mason Rudolph has been starting again, and he's still stupid cheap at 3,600. And so he's someone that I'm forcing exposure to.
You know what? Now that he did it a second game last week, Josiah, I'm gonna allow it.
Yeah,
I like it. He's way priced up on FanDuel, which is why it caught me off guard.
And Bobby's bringing that FanDuel perspective a little bit here. So some of these names, I think there's a few of these guys that are priced really differently on FanDuel, but
yes,
I'm gonna allow it.
As well.
11 more targets after the 10 spot. You can't ignore it. Yeah. That's real. Who's unowned? Njoku? Who are we talking about? Chris Hernandez? I don't know, but Chig Okonkwo, fine. I think you're on it, and Payne Durham. I get he has a weird mustache, but beyond that, he had 7 targets. He's almost Stoneman salary, and it's just another player to stack with Baker if you were going to build those stacks. So that's where Tucker Kraft is for me too. But Tucker Kraft is not somebody that I'm going to play as a standalone button click.
What?
He's only a button click with Jordan Love or as part of that game.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's only for the game. If he's doing it, Jordan Love's doing it. There's not that many quarterbacks.
Oh, he's 3,900.
I'm only using 4 or 5 quarterbacks. If my quarterback is attached to the player, that player will be attached to that quarterback. That's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to contain the damage.
Tucker Kraft is 3,900.
So is Ferguson. Ferguson's cheaper than him, and he's a better play.
Yeah, and Kraft has outscored him like the last 5 weeks in a row.
You're rolling yourself out.
Fergie's got an 11-point projection, and Tucker Kraft is more expensive, and he's at 8.4.
I can't dispute the projection, but I'm just if history.
And by the way, everybody below them is a fucking turd outside of maybe Let's
Payne
see.
Durham's the best value play on the slate, even over Fergie to me. I think he should be the chalk. I'm very shocked he's not.
He might get there.
I think
That
he
might
just
come up.
hasn't shown any upside. And last week, same situation, pretty solid matchup still. The Panthers have been good against tight ends this season. So I don't know. That might be why people aren't looking at him too much.
I just use these numbers as a guide, and it's like, okay, I'll play Ferguson. I'll play some Hawkinson. He's got a good projection to him. I'm playing his. I just want this game, so I'll build around it. If I had to get crazy on a gummy, it's going to be Tyler Conklin.
Damn, you took
Oh my
mine.
God! Here we
You
go.
knew it was coming.
What is it not Tyler?
You knew
Conklin?
it was coming, Bobby.
Damn, you
Wow.
actually
Don't act
took mine.
surprised.
You actually took mine.
Oh, it was. Oh, you were gonna gum it
I
up.
forgot to ask you a question. Before we end this podcast, I need to ask you. It's about wide receiver.
Oh boy.
I hope Conklin leaves this
Scared of
team,
that.
so I never have to hear his name again.
All right, but what I'd like to do is move on to defenses now.
Conklin is
Wait, Burns, did Burns touch on his tight ends at all? Or
Burns, did you give us your tight end group?
You guys named off a lot of them, but no, I was going to say Conklin. Conklin is over the last 4 games is actually seeing an average of 6 targets a game. So,
of course.
and he's $2,900, and everybody in that $2,900 range outside of this Payne Durham individual is not as good, like from a projection standpoint or even a props projection standpoint. Plus he's he's going up against the Bills, and the Bills just haven't been that great against tight ends this year. And there are metrics that I look at for tight ends, and he gets them all. So I don't know.
Except Aaron Rodgers only wants to throw it to Devontae.
He wants to throw it to Devontae, but he's been recently throwing it to him. But I'm not going like this is like a couple of lineups play for me.
BobbyWow, is that turd for Conklin?
It's for a turd hat bet.
Oh, what? All right, what are we betting?
Payne Durham scores more points than Tyler Conklin.
You're doing Payne and Tyler?
Yeah.
All right, I'll onboard you for that one. Fine. I'll get on board with that.
I'm not wearing that shit.
Burns, you wouldn't wear a turd hat?
I don't even own one. I don't know.
Yeah, I have a turd hat here. I'll get on board, even though
Burns is above turd. No, he should never have to wear a turd hat.
Burns has the Shark Lab. The Shark Lab is an author, is a published author.
He's an author, yes. Esteemed.
How dare you even suggest that I should wear such a hat?
You gotta play
I'm an academic.
Yeah.
Gone to Ohio State University.
I would like preface it that way, but whatever.
I have graduated alpha cum laude with honors across the board on the dean's list, as well as the cum and all the different laudes in my college experience.
You sound more like a Yale or a Harvard person than an Ohio State
Yeah,
person.
in fairness, I was doing my snobby university person
That went to
impression.
one of those prep schools in Manhattan or some shit.
The closest I come to that is like, you ever see that movie? Oh, fuck, what was it called? Where like it's like they're in Harvard or something, and they're all singing this song to Constance Fry, and it's like Harvard, and they're like propositioning or messing with the sorority girls, but they're singing these ridiculous like a cappella songs. What the fuck movie was that?
I actually know what movie you're talking about.
What movie was that? Constance Fry.
I can't remember the movie.
I can't.
From the 90s.
I remember the girl's name and who the actress is.
Who the actress?
The actress actually has like an illness now. That's why I remember her. But I can't remember. Dark-haired actress, but I cannot remember what movie that is. It's like,
well, that
might be Legally Blonde. That actually might be from Legally Blonde.
Yeah, I don't remember like hearing that
She goes to Harvard
from that movie, but
they sing it to the snobby girl.
It's not Dead Poet Society. Dead Poet Society is based on a high school. It's kind of like a prep school. Sorry, John Jingle.
Trading Places. It could be that.
No, I don't know.
We'll do some research and come back to it, I think.
Constance Fry. Type that into Google and it'll come up the scene. All All right, let's talk defense. I haven't even looked at the defenses, so it's glad we're talking it right now. Burns, you're usually on point with your defense choices. It looks like Jets defense will be the chalk. Dolphins, of course. Fuck yeah. Pay up for that against DTR. As a matter of fact, it might be just play the Dolphins, and that's the end of it. Can we just play the DTR's in there? Play the Dolphins.
Be better if JMO is in there. I'd smash him even harder. But...
Even if JMO steps in, you're still good. Yeah, I don't mind that. It is everybody says Selma Blair, Legally Blonde. That's right. And there's something else with trading places, but yeah, it was Selma Blair, Legally Blonde.
Damn.
I was like, the girls really want these losers who are singing these. They're wearing bow tie and jacket, but
I forgot that freaking part of that movie.
Do we need anyone except for the Dolphins this week? Can I lock button a defense, Burns? I need permission.
I mean, you can do whatever you want. It's your money.
No, I want you to recommend it so that if it goes wrong, I want to blame it on you.
Why blame it on me? I'm just telling you it's your money.
Oh, well, that doesn't give me much confidence.
Yeah, just stick with the favorites. Stick with the away and the home favorites. You're actually going to be better off than if you don't. Buccaneers are in a good spot. Like them a good bit. Man, I haven't finished everything, so I can't really. But the Eagles have been popping since the beginning of the week for me. I just like them a good bit this week. Cooper Rush is just a dude. Eagles are a really good actual defense, and so I could see them dominating this game. And it's actually a good stack partner with Saquon Barkley this week. Old school stack partner.
Eagles underpriced.
Yeah, I like the Bills could actually do some damage this week as well. So they're the highest priced defense, but we saw what Atlanta did last week as the highest priced defense. They actually broke the slate. So but any defense going up against the Giants probably should be rostered. So the Indianapolis Colts defense, even though they're not a defense that has actually, gotten a lot of turnovers, 15 interceptions is pretty good, but 9 defensive fumble recoveries. But their sack rate isn't as high as some other teams, but yeah. So
Joe Zoo with some next level thinking in the chat here. Dallas defense against Pickett unowned.
Tiny.
Yeah. Don't really see that happening, but okay.
No, I like it. I like the call.
Hey, it could work, right?
Yeah, it just under the radar didn't even occur to me, but that's right. Kenny Pickett, not that good.
No, he's not.
Yeah, I like defense. Oh, good.
I was saying I like it.
Yeah. Another defense I like is the Raiders going up against the Saints. Spencer Rattler, he's been fumbling, he's been throwing interceptions. I like the Raiders here at pretty low ownership. And then I liked the Giants a bit more when I thought Anthony Richardson was going to play. I do think their defense is better than people think they are. But even if Joe Flacco plays at 2,300, I'm still willing to take the shot on the Giants as well.
For the cheapness, I see it. I could see it.
Yeah.
How about, I think you guys nailed it here. BobbyWow, you got something?
I think that's what I was going with as well. I like those cheaper defenses that were mentioned.
I'm just looking for defenses against shitty quarterbacks. So give me like I said before, give me the Dolphins all day against DTR. That guy is so bad. I'll take that all day. I think you play the Raiders at 2,600 against the Rattlesnake because he's not good. So the best way to get, and even the Cowboys, I agree. I agree in the chat. You know what? It is Kenny Pickett. I do think this is the Barkley game, but why not?
I do think you can punt if you run on 150. I do think the Panthers are puntable, as close to min price. They look pretty good against the Bucks a couple weeks ago when they played, and Baker isn't a stranger to interceptions. So
he has thrown an interception or two through the years. If you had to play the cheapest, You favor the Panthers, Giants, or Jets?
Giants for me.
Or even
Giants
Browns?
Richardson starting, but probably, I don't know. Not the Browns. Giants or Panthers.
Yeah.
I'm surprised the Jets are chalky, honestly, with the Bills needing to win this game. What have the Jets done?
It's just because they're cheap. The cheapest the cheapest defense always gets this. And the Bills have been a little turnover prone. Like, you could get a turnover against the Bills. The Bills looked terrible against the Dolphins last week, right? Against the crapola Dolphins team. That was like the sports betting gods forcing that game to end, super close. That happens sometimes when you're up against some garbage opponent that you're overlooking, and all of a sudden you play bad. Don't you think the Bills are overlooking the garbage Jets? They're not like, oh no, we're playing the Jets. They're like,
They're not the Bears. They always seem prepared, unlike the Bears.
The Bear. What opponent could the Bears possibly overlook? Like, you can't get worse than them at winning games. Brutal. At least you got a better draft pick, BobbyWow.
That's true.
What, do you want to win now and just ruin your draft position?
Yeah, I'd like to win.
No. Get the draft pick. Root for the pick. All right, guys, that's going to do it for Tournament Tactics NFL Week 17, the breakdown. We got 1 week of regular season left. BobbyWow, what's up?
I got to ask you the question. I'm sorry.
Yes.
It's because I know how much you hate him. If he plays, will you be rostering Chris Olave this week?
Hell no. Hell no. What? Is he even supposed to play with the rattlesnake? Get the hell out of here. Nope.
He's 5K. He's probably going to play.
Actually, I don't know. No, I don't think so.
Okay,
That is far from my radar. I don't hate Olave. I hated the price of Olave, by the way. I don't hate the player. I hate the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the price of Olave that's the problem. If you're going to price him at 6,500 and he's not that kind of a player, then I don't like it.
Yeah.
Put him at the right price, and I like it. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen.
I think you just cursed yourself. That feels like an old Viking curse.
That sounds like a curse.
I feel like I said it right.
UPL.
Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. Luukkonen.
He's the goalie. He's a goalie.
Unless it's like the certain, if it's the native if it's the native Eskimo pronunciation, it would be Luukkonen. You got to double the U sound, W.
DS loves Olave. You see that?
Does it? Oh my gosh.
Of course he does.
Really?
Tebow time. I just want to understand what kind of freaking league you're playing in that's still going for week 18. Whoever the commissioner is should be taken out and shot. Your league needs to end.
It's week 17. No, it's still this week.
Okay. All right. I thought, some people have that. Last year, people still had leagues that would end week 18. I'm like, dude.
I'm in the. It's easier for you to forget because you're not in the championship, but I am. So I had to just make sure.
Yeah. No, I'm aware. I'm aware of what went on in the staff league.
Dude, we were out a long time ago, Kev.
Well, that's the dynasty, but in the regular staff league, I had the best team, but I got knocked out by Tattoo before he got knocked out. Just gross. This was not my fantasy football redraft year at all. And I have so much Saquon and so much goodness. Somehow it all didn't work out. You got John Taylor. It was brutal. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up there. Remember, if you enjoy the breakdown, hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel here. We've got a ton of content coming out, of course, next week, but also for the playoffs. He's in the championship. All right, good. I'm glad if I lost to you, it's like my football team, at least if I lost to you, that you made it to the end. That makes me feel like I at least lost to somebody who was good, and it's more acceptable for next year.
Gymnastics that you're
playing. So make sure to stick around. We got the playoffs coming up. We've got a big week of week 18 action. We're going to have to figure out a ton. Plus, I will have me and BobbyWow has already agreed to do a playoff best ball breakdown with me. We're going to do it early in the week next week, probably Monday or Tuesday, like early in the week. We want to get on it. As soon as we kind of have an idea of seeding, we're going to talk about strategy. We're just going to have a little fun with underdog playoff football. And that'll wrap it up for this one, everyone. Like, subscribe. Yes, I hope that. All right. I'm going to ignore what's going on in the chat. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Helmets up, everyone.
Good luck, y'all.